The gavel slammed down like a thunderclap in Benjamin's chest, echoing through the sterile courtroom as the judge's voice cut through the haze. Guilty on all counts: assault with intent to endanger, tampering with medical devices, and violation of the Americans with Disabilities Act. But it wasn't the Karen from the HOA in the defendant's chair. It was me, Jacob, staring at my own reflection in the polished wood, wondering how loving Benjamin had chained me to this nightmare. In that frozen second, as the bailiff's cuffs clicked shut, I locked eyes with him across the room, his hazel gaze pleading, broken, the man who'd walked into my life on crutches and stolen my heart whole. It started 6 months earlier in Willow Creek, that cookie-cutter suburb outside Atlanta where every lawn was manicured to military precision and the American dream hid its fractures behind white picket fences. I was 32, a freelance graphic designer scraping by on coffee and client revisions, living in a rented bungalow that smelled faintly of my ex's cologne even after a year of airing it out. Atlanta's sprawl had always felt like home, gritty edges wrapped in southern charm, but Willow Creek was the kind of place where progress stalled at the welcome sign. I'd moved there for the quiet, or so I told myself, but really, it was to outrun the ghost of a love that had ghosted me first. That muggy July afternoon, I was knee-deep in a logo mock-up when the doorbell buzzed like an angry hornet. Outside stood Benjamin Hayes, all lean angles and quiet fire, balancing on a pair of forearm crutches that clicked against the welcome mat. His dark hair was tousled from the humidity, and those hazel eyes, God, they hit like a gut punch, flecked with gold that caught the sun. He wore a faded Georgia Tech tee clinging to his shoulders and jeans that hung loose on his hips, but it was the way he held himself, chin up against the world's pity, that hooked me. Jacob Riley? His voice was low, laced with that drawl that made Atlanta feel intimate. I'm your new neighbor. Just moved into 147. The realtor said you might have a spare ramp or something, my doctor's orders, but the HOA's dragging their feet on approvals. I blinked. Processing. Neighbor? I'd barely noticed the for sale sign flip to sold next door. Yeah, man. Come in. It's brutal out there. I stepped aside, and he maneuvered in with a grace that belied the effort, his crutches echoing on the hardwood. Up close, I saw the faint scar snaking up his left forearm, a souvenir from the car wreck that had shattered his femur 2 years back. Multiple sclerosis, he'd later tell me, the kind that crept in slow and stole your mobility one bad day at a time. We ended up on my sagging couch, him sipping the iced tea I'd rustled up, me pretending not to stare at the way his fingers drummed the glass. Strong hands. Artist's hands, he said, from his days sketching urban decay before the diagnosis sidelined him. He was 28, a barista by trade now, slinging lattes at a hipster spot in Midtown when his legs cooperated. Willow Creek seemed like a fresh start, he admitted, gaze drifting to the window where the HOA's pristine lawns mocked us both. Quiet streets, no stairs in the bungalow. But Karen Whitaker, president of the board, she's got a vendetta against anything that disrupts the aesthetic. My walker's apparently an eyesore, Karen. The name alone conjured images of entitlement wrapped in pearls. I'd crossed paths with her once, at the neighborhood potluck, where she'd lectured me on my unkempt mailbox like it was a federal offense. Sounds like classic Willow Creek welcome, I said, leaning forward. Tell you what, I've got some plywood in the garage from a shelving project gone wrong. We can whip up a temporary ramp by sundown. His smile cracked open then, slow and genuine, lighting up the room like the fireflies we'd chase as kids back in rural Georgia. You're a lifesaver, Jacob. Literally. By evening, sweat-soaked and laughing over splintered wood, we'd bonded over shared gripes, the South's sticky heat, the ache of dreams deferred. He confessed his ex had bailed when the MS flares hit, calling it too much baggage over text, leaving him to navigate Atlanta's traffic on buses that weren't built for wheels. I shared my own scars, coming out at 20 to a family that loved me but whispered prayers for healing behind closed doors. We're both a little bent, I joked, hammering the last nail. But hell, we still stand. That night, as I walked him home under a sky bruised purple, our shoulders brushed electric, unspoken. He paused at his door, crutches steady. Thanks for today. Feels good to build something. His eyes held mine, and in that beat, I saw it, the hunger for connection, raw and real. I wanted to pull him close, taste the salt on his skin, but I held back. Too soon. Too fragile. The next weeks blurred into a rhythm that felt like fate's sly wink. Mornings, I'd brew extra coffee and knock on his door, finding him experimenting with breakfast burritos that could rival any food truck. We'd eat on his porch, trading stories. His from the dive bars of East Atlanta where he'd sketched strangers' souls, mine from design gigs that paid the bills but starved the artist in me. Afternoons, when his energy dipped, I'd drag him to my home office, propping his feet up while I worked, his head lolling against my shoulder in quiet trust. One rainy Tuesday, as thunder rattled the windows, he reached for my hand. Jacob, this feels like more than neighbors. His voice trembled, vulnerability cracking the armor. I turned, heart pounding. It is. Has been since day one. Our kiss was tentative at first, soft lips, hesitant tongues, then deepening like the storm outside, all pent-up longing unleashed. His hands in my hair, mine tracing the curve of his back. We melted into each other on that worn couch, the world narrowing to breaths and whispers. Love bloomed fierce and fast, the kind that reshapes your bones. We explored Atlanta together, wheelchair-accessible trails in Piedmont Park, where he'd tease me about my city boy aversion to bugs, late-night drives to the varsity for chili dogs, his laughter bubbling over the radio's indie folk. He opened up about the MS, the invisible thief that stole good days and left flares in its wake. Numb limbs, vertigo spins that turned the room into a carnival ride from hell. Some nights, I wake up convinced I'll never walk unaided again. He'd murmur into my chest, body curled against mine. I'd hold him tighter, promising, then we'll roll together. You're not alone in this. But Willow Creek's facade cracked early. Karen Whitaker, 50-ish with a bob haircut sharp as her tongue, caught us one evening, Benjamin's arm around my waist as we strolled the cul-de-sac. His walker folded in the trunk for good days, her eyes narrowed behind designer sunglasses. Mister. Hayes, that contraption in your driveway is a violation of Covenant 4.2. No unsightly medical apparatuses visible from the street. She spat apparatus like it was vulgar, ignoring me entirely. Benjamin stiffened, but his voice stayed even. It's a walker, Ms. Whitaker. Prescribed. And it's in the garage. Details, she huffed. Clipboard clutched like a shield. The board meets Thursday. Consider this a courtesy warning. She flounced off, heels clicking judgment. I squeezed his hand. Ignore her. She's just mad her hydrangeas aren't the neighborhood scandal. He chuckled, but worry shadowed his eyes. HOA Karens like her, they're the real plague. Grew up hearing stories from my mom about folks getting fined for rainbow flags. Thought Atlanta was past that. It wasn't. Not by a long shot. As summer faded into fall, Karen's petty campaigns escalated. Anonymous notes about excessive male visitors. Me. Overnight. Complaints on the community forum about disruptive laughter after 10 p.m. Benjamin brushed it off at first, focusing on us. Lazy Sundays binging queer indie films. His sketches of my profile pinned to the fridge like love letters. Yet the undercurrent pulled. One crisp October night, post-argument with a flare that left him bedbound, he turned to me in the dark. What if this breaks us? The MS? The neighborhood Nazis? I don't want to drag you down. I traced his jaw. Fierce. You're not dragging. You're flying, Ben. And I'm right there, wings and all. Little did we know, the storm was just gathering. Leaves crunched underfoot like brittle promises as November swept in, painting Willow Creek in fiery reds and golds that mocked the chill settling in our bones. Benjamin's good days outnumbered the bad now, thanks to a new med cocktail that dulled the MS's edge, and we seized them like contraband, picnics in his backyard, where I'd grill burgers while he manned the playlist, crooning off-key to Hosier until neighbors shot glares over fences. Our love was a quiet rebellion. Stolen kisses in the laundry room, his body warm and yielding under mine, hands mapping scars both seen and felt. But Karen's shadow loomed larger. The HOA board meeting Thursday became legend in our whispers. Benjamin prepping his speech like a trial lawyer, crutches propped nearby as backup. I tagged along, moral support in khakis and a button-down, the community center's fluorescent buzz amplifying every cough. The room smelled of stale coffee and entitlement, folding chairs arranged in judgmental rows. Karen presided at the head table, pearls gleaming like armor, flanked by nodding heads, retirees with clipboards, a realtor eyeing commissions. Item 7. Violations at 147 Willow Lane, she announced, voice slicing the air. Slides projected. Benjamin's walker in the driveway, zoomed unflatteringly, labeled eyesore impacting property values. Murmurs rippled. Mr. Hayes has been uncooperative. He stood, crutches clicking, voice steady as steel. MS. Whitaker, this isn't about aesthetics. This is my lifeline. The ADA protects medical necessities. I've submitted doctor's notes twice. Karen's smile was a razor. And we've reviewed them. But covenants are covenants. A vote. Fines commencing at $50 weekly until compliance. Hands shot up like accusations, 8 ayes, 2 nays, mine and a sympathetic widow. Benjamin's face drained of color, but he nodded curtly. Noted. Outside, rain slicked the parking lot, and he leaned into me, crutches slipping. It's okay. We fight smart. We did. That weekend, I dove into legalese, printing ADA primers and precedent cases, while he rallied allies, a young couple down the block with a service dog, the widow who'd voted no. Petitions circulated, signatures trickling in like hesitant allies. Love fueled us. Nights tangled in sheets, his breath hot against my neck as we whispered plans, bodies sinking in a rhythm that drowned doubt. You're my anchor, he'd murmur, fingers laced with mine. In every storm, yet cracks spiderwebbed. Flares hit harder as winter loomed. Numb feet turning stairs into minefields, vertigo that pinned him to the bathroom floor one dawn. I'd find him there, pale and shaking, and pull him up, heart fracturing. "Why me?" he'd rasp, not accusatory but aching. "You could have anyone, steady, uncomplicated." I cup his face, fierce. "I want complicated. I want you," and I meant it, every syllable. Our intimacy deepened, not in frenzy but tenderness. Massages easing knotted muscles, shared baths where steam blurred boundaries. He sketched us then, intertwined silhouettes against Atlanta's skyline, titled Undefeated. HOA tensions simmered through December. Holiday lights twinkled like defiant stars, but Karen's patrols grew militant, notes on windshields citing excessive wattage, a cease and desist for Benjamin's subtle rainbow bulb in the window. "Symbolism?" she sneered during a porch confrontation, me hovering like a shield. "This is a family neighborhood." Benjamin's retort was velvet over iron. "Families come in all colors, Karen. Including mine." She flushed crimson, storming off. But the seed of real trouble sprouted that night. An email blast to the board. Concerning moral decay at 147, unwed cohabitation, potential zoning breach. I laughed it off over eggnog. But Benjamin's eyes darkened. "She's digging. We need to document everything." We did. Obsessively. Timestamps on fines. $200 by New Year's. Photos of her lurking by our mailbox. Atlanta's queer scene became our refuge. New Year's Eve at a drag brunch in East Atlanta Village, where glittery queens toasted our resilience. Benjamin's laugh freer under strobe lights. We danced, slow, close, his crutches ditched for my arm. World fading to bass thumps and his cologne, woodsy and warm. January brought ice storms that locked us in, turning the bungalow into a cocoon. Curled by the fireplace, a thrift store find, we dream aloud. Him illustrating children's books on disability and dreams, me pitching inclusive designs to Atlanta firms. Someday, he'd say, head on my lap, we'll ditch Willow Creek for a place that doesn't police love. Someday soon, I'd promise, kissing his temple. But betrayal's whisper came subtle, from an unlikely quarter. My best friend, Tyler, met in college. Out and proud since day one, had been our sounding board, crashing dinners with six-packs and sarcasm. One blustery afternoon, as Benjamin napped off a flare, Tyler pulled me aside in the kitchen. "Look, man, I love Ben. But this HOA crap, is stressing you out. And him, the MS. You sure you're not playing white knight to avoid your own shit?" I bristled. "What the hell, Ty? This is real." He shrugged, eyes evasive. "Just saying. I saw your browser history, those grad school apps for Chicago. Big city, fresh start. Alone." Heat flooded my face. I toyed with the idea, late night what-ifs after Ben's worst days, but buried it deep. "That's not. Think about it." He clapped my shoulder, gone before rebuttal. Doubt seated. That night, as Benjamin stirred soup with one hand, crutches nearby, I watched him, resilient, radiant, and shove Tyler's words down. But they lingered, the thorn. February's thaw mirrored our thaw. Fines paused after a city inspector cited ADA violations against the HOA. Karen's scowl legendary at the next meeting. Victory tasted sweet, takeout from our favorite soul food spot, toasting with sweet tea on the porch. "To us," Benjamin said, clinking glasses, his free hand finding mine under the table. "Unbreakable," I echoed it, but Tyler's ghost nagged. He dodged my calls. Then cornered me at a coffee shop mid-month. Heard about the win. Congrats. But seriously, Jake, Ben's great, but he's dependent. You deserve wings, not weights. Rage boiled. Get out. You're supposed to have my back, not stab it. He left with a sigh, but the damage rooted. Nights, I'd lie awake. Benjamin snores soft beside me, wondering if love was anchor or chain. Then came the walker. Benjamin's old one, scuffed but reliable, sat in the garage, a fallback for flare days. We'd laughed about upgrading, but funds were tight. My freelance dried up with a client purge, his barista shifts cut by snow. One morning in late March, as azaleas bloomed defiant, I found him in the driveway, staring at shards. The walker's frame twisted, will snapped like bones, aluminum mangled by what looked like bolt cutters. What the? I knelt, heart slamming. Karen's sedan idled at the curb, her silhouette in the window, eyes wide feigned innocence. Oh dear. Vandals? I'll alert the board. Benjamin's face crumpled, fear, fury, fragility. This isn't just a toy, Jacob. Freedom. Cops came, statements taken under magnolia shade. Tampering with medical equipment's a felony, the officer noted, notepad flipping. Especially if intent to harm. Karen fluttered. Absurd. Must be kids. But evidence mounted. Security cam from the widow's house caught a hooded figure, her build unmistakable, pearls glinting in moonlight. Benjamin pressed charges that week, voice steel despite trembling hands. No more hiding. As spring unfurled, our bond tightened, walks, when possible, hand in hand. His sketches now of fractured walkers mended with gold, kintsugi style. Beauty in breaks, he said, inking my portrait. Love felt invincible. Yet Tyler's betrayal brewed unseen. A week before trial, an anonymous tip to the DA, defense witness, Jacob Riley, has motive to fabricate. Personal grudge. My name on a subpoena, not as victim but suspect. The call came at dawn. Mr. Riley, you're wanted for questioning. Obstruction. Benjamin's eyes met mine over coffee. Confusion, then cracking trust. What did you do? Nothing. But doubt's poison spread. Courtroom air hung thick as kudzu. Atlanta's humidity seeping through AC vents, turning the gallery into a sweatbox of whispers and rustles. April's cherry blossoms mocked us outside the Fulton County Courthouse, pink petals scattering like confetti for a party we weren't invited to. Benjamin sat front row, crutches folded beside him, his temporary loaner walker a clunky rental, propped like a sentinel. His eyes, those hazel storms, fixed on me as I took the stand, not as ally but accused, the betrayal's blade twisting deeper with every oath. It had unraveled fast after the tip. Detectives at my door 2 days post-subpoena, badges glinting under porch light. Routine questions. Mr. Riley. About the night of the tampering. Their tone said otherwise. Skeptical glances at Benjamin's sketches pinned inside, the rainbow mug on the counter. I cooperated, palms slick. I was with Ben all night. Asleep by 10. But the lead detective, a grizzled vet named Hargrove, leaned in. Neighbor says different. Tyler Marsden claims he saw you out late, arguing with MS. Whitaker. Tyler. The name ignited fury. That son of a, he's lying. We haven't spoken since. Since he warned you off the relationship? Hargrove's eyebrow arched. Word is, you confided doubts. MS burden. HOA stress. Motive to frame Whitaker. Clear your path. Blood roared in my ears. This is insane. Tyler's twisting. Save it for the judge. Cuffs were a courtesy. I spent the night in holding. Concrete bench digging into my spine. Replaying every late-night whisper with Ben. Every I love you now suspect. Dawn release on bail. Courtesy of a frantic call to my sister in Decatur. Landed me at Benjamin's door. Hollow-eyed and hollowed out. He opened it slow. Face a mask of guarded ache. They wouldn't say much. Just, you. I collapsed onto the stoop. Head in hands. Tyler's behind it. Jealous. Spiteful, God knows why. I didn't do this. Ben. Swear on everything. He sank beside me. Crutches clattering. His hand hovering before touching my knee. Tentative. Testing. I believe you. But it hurts. Like everything's tainted now. We clung there as sirens wailed distant. Atlanta's pulse indifferent. Trust's fracture ran deep. That week, silences stretched. His sketches untouched. My designs half-finished. Love's embers smoldered. But shadows loomed, court dates looming. Tyler dodging voicemails turned to rage-fueled texts. How could you? His reply. Finally. For your own good. Man. Ben's poison slow drip. Saw it coming. HOA mess just accelerated. Betrayal's anatomy. He'd fed Karen intel too. Anonymous emails urging stricter enforcement on deviant households. Tyler, who'd toasted our coming out, now architect of our undoing. Why? His own closet rattled. Unspoken crushes on me since college. Twisted into sabotage when I chose Ben. Trial week arrived like a freight train. DA's case against Karen. Ironclad, cam footage, tool marks matching her garden shears, witness statements from the widow. But the obstruction charge on me? Thin gruel, built on Tyler's perjury. I testified third day, suit ill-fitting, palms sweating under the Bible. I love Benjamin Hayes. I'd never harm him or lie for revenge. Cross-exam painted me villain. Isn't it true, Mr. Riley? You confided to Mr. Marsden your regrets? That Mr. Hayes' condition was suffocating? Out of context, I snapped, voice cracking. Frustration, not fact. I misspoke in weakness. Jury murmurs. Benjamin's gaze burned. Pain. Plea. Pride. Karen took the stand next. Composure cracking under redirect. I was protecting the community. That device was an abomination. Objection. Our pro bono attorney, a queer rights firebrand from Emory's clinic, leapt. Prejudice speaks. Sustained. But damage lingered. Adjournment brought reprieve. Walks in nearby Grant Park, where dogwoods bloomed defiant. Benjamin's hand in mine a lifeline. Whatever happens, he said. Bench creaking under us. We rebuild. Like the ramp. I nodded, throat tight. Together, Tyler's subpoena as hostile witness sealed the farce. Under oath, he squirmed, sweat beading on his brow. I exaggerated. Jake's a good guy. No motive. DA pounced. Then why lie? Tyler crumbled, voice small. Fear. Jealousy. Thought I was saving him. From himself. From us all. Gasps rippled. My attorney circled. And your tips to MS. Whitaker. Encouraging harassment. He deflated. Guilty. I'm sorry. Jury deliberated 2 hours. Verdict. Karen guilty. 2 years probation. Restitution for a new walker. $2,500. Community service at a disability advocacy center. Me? Charges dropped. Obstruction evaporating like morning fog. Outside, media swarmed. Local news vans. HOA horror headlines buzzing. Benjamin hugged me fierce. Crutches digging ribs. Laughter bubbling through tears. We won, but victory tasted bittersweet. Tyler's confession unearthed more. His anonymous posts on neighborhood apps, stirring homophobia's underbelly. Threats trickled. Tires slashed on my truck. Eggs on Ben's door scrawled with slurs. Willow Creek's mask slipped, revealing rot. We retreated inward. Love's forge tempering us. May's warmth coaxed balcony gardens. Tomatoes twisting up trellises. Basil scenting lazy evenings. Benjamin's flares eased with PT. His steps surer on the new walker. Sleek carbon fiber, engraved unbroken on the grip. Your design? He teased, wheeling it like a runway model. Guilty. I grinned, pulling him close. Kisses reignited. Slow burns to fervent flames. Bodies rediscovering trust in tangled sheets. Whispers of forever against skin. Yet doubt's echo persisted. One humid night, post-dinner haze, Benjamin voiced it. Tyler's poison. It got in my head. What if I'm the weight, he said. I knelt before him, hands on thighs. You're the lift, Ben. Every day. Proof. I withdrew the Chicago apps. Emailed rejections to ghosts. Here. With you. Tears tracked his cheeks. I love you. More than steady. Summer solstice brought catharsis. A block party we hosted, defying Karen's probation-bound silence. Neighbors trickled, the widow with pie, the young couple with their pup. Tyler showed, uninvited, eyes downcast. Can we talk? Benjamin nodded, magnanimous. Porch. Now. I hovered, protective. Tyler's apology poured. I was scared of my own shit. Seeing you too, so real. It highlighted my empty. Forgive. Ben's gaze softened. Not yet. But the doors cracked, healing's slow thaw. As fireflies danced, we slow danced under strings of bulbs. His head on my shoulder, world writing. Love, we'd learned, wasn't absence of storm but dancing in rain. But Willow Creek whispered warnings. Karen's appeal loomed, her lawyer sniffing for mitigating bigotry claims. And deeper, Benjamin's MS scan scheduled, shadows of progression lurking in reports. August heat wave tested us, power outages, fans whirring futile. One blackout night, candles flickering. He confessed, scan results tomorrow. If it's worse, I silenced him with lips. Whatever. We're warriors. Results. Stable. Miracle's edge. Relief crashed like waves. We celebrated with rooftop tickets to an Atlanta Symphony queer pride concert. Strings swelling under stars. His hand in mine. Crutches aside. We swayed hope's anthem. September schooled normalcy. Back to routine. My designs landing a queer mag cover. His barista shifts yielding tips for art supplies. Sketches evolved, our story in panels. Submitted to a local lit fest. Acceptance letter arrived like lightning. Hearts Unchained shortlisted. Pride swelled. But October's chill carried Karen's appeal hearing. Dismissed in chambers, her gavel dreams dashed. She moved, rumor had it, to a gated Alpharetta enclave. Pearls packed. Willow Creek exhaled. We thrived. Thanksgiving with my sister. Her kids gawking at Ben's superhero sticks. Laughter filled voids. Yet betrayal's scar itched. Tyler's texts resumed cautious olive branches. One crisp eve. Beers on neutral turf. We hashed. You broke us, I said. But Ben. He mends. Forgive me, Tyler asked. Working on it. Handshake sealed tentative peace. As leaves fell, love rooted deeper. Plans for a joint art show. Dreams of a bungalow edition. Ramp permanent. Pride flag waving bold. Winter whispered of renewal. But fate, that sly fox, had one more twist cued. Snow dusted Atlanta's red clay like powdered sugar on grit. Rare and fleeting, turning Willow Creek into a postcard lie the week before Christmas. Benjamin and I shoveled the drive, him directing from his walker, me heaving wet clumps, laughter steaming in cold air, cheeks ruddy with effort and each other. Our first holiday as us proper. Tree strung with queer icons, Ellen ornaments, rainbow tinsel, menu blending his mom's cornbread dressing with my nana's pecan pie. Love felt fortified, battles won, future a canvas blank and bright. Tyler's redemption arc gained traction. Volunteering at the same advocacy center as Karen's penance. Awkward nods evolving to coffees where he'd sketch apology amends. I'm seeing someone, he confessed one afternoon. I shy. Therapist. Unpacking the mess. We toasted progress. Brotherhood mending like kintsugi cracks. But MS, that unrelenting thief, struck back on Christmas Eve. Benjamin's flare hit mid-carol, Oh Holy Night on the radio. His grip slackening on the wheel as we fetched last-minute gifts from Ponce City Market. Vertigo spun the world. He braked hard, truck fishtailing into a snowbank. Airbags blooming white. No crash, just jarring halt, me yelling his name. Him gasping, can't. Feel my leg. Our lights buzzed harsh. Doctors swarming. Steroids foredripped. Scans confirming inflammation spike. Manageable, the neuro said, but her eyes held caveats. Pace yourself. Stress exacerbates. Guilt gnawed me. Our whirlwind life, perhaps too much too soon. Discharged dawn Christmas. He slept through unwrapping. Walker upgraded to a rollator for stability. I watched him, chest rising steady, vowing slower symphonies. New Year dawned reflective. Resolutions. Therapy for us both. Couple sessions unpacking betrayal's debris. Individual for my codependency tics. His grief over able-bodied Ben. Atlanta's skyline glittered from our balcony. Champagne flutes clinking. To fragile strength, he toasted. Hazel eyes locking mine. To us, I countered. Sealing with a kiss. Gentle. Grounding. January thawed literal and figurative. Karen's community service wrapped with a begrudging email to the board. Lessons learned. Her absence of vacuum filled by progressive voices. Willow Creek elected a new president. The widow, Mrs. Ellis, who championed accessibility audits. A ramp, now model for the neighborhood. Plywood reborn in sleek composite. Benjamin's art bloomed. Hearts Unchained 1/3 at the Lit Fest. Panels selling to a queer bookstore chain. My designs followed. Inclusive branding for a Midtown nonprofit. checks padding our escape fund. Whispers of leaving Willow Creek surfaced. Maybe Decatur, closer to the city, better transit. Or stay, he mused, sketching high-rises. Make this home unbreakable. Love's depth plumbed in quiet. Mornings brewing his tea just so, 2 sugars. Lemon twist. Evenings reading aloud from Audre Lorde. Voices weaving tapestries. Intimacy evolved, less urgency, more reverence. His fingers tracing my spine, my lips on his temple during flares. Body's languages of care. February's Valentine's was low-key magic. Picnic in Piatt Park under bare oaks. Heart-shaped sandwiches. His gift a custom sketchbook, leather-bound, inscribed, "For our forever drafts." Mine, tickets to a traveling exhibit on American queer history. Artifacts whispering resilience. But March's eyes bore omens. Tyler, in therapy glow, confessed a relapse, slipped back into old patterns. Told a buddy about. Anonymously, but it spread. Online forums lit up, Willow Creek's private Facebook. Posts veiled as concerns about that couple's drama influencing property values. Echoes of Karen. Benjamin read them aloud, voice steady but eyes storming. Thought we were past this. I pulled him close. We are. Bullies bark loudest in defeat. Yet the pack mentality stirred. A petition circulated, not for eviction, but enhanced background checks for residents. Subtext, screen the gaze. Mrs. Ellis quashed it publicly. Discrimination has no place. But damage seeped. Cold shoulders at mailboxes. Kids' playdates drying up. Stress triggered Benjamin's worst flare yet. Bilateral numbness dropping him mid-kitchen. Plate shattering like trust. Ambulance wail. Hospital vigil. Docs upped meds. Prescribed a power chair for bad days. Adaptive. Not defeat, he insisted, wheeling laps in the hall. Chin defiant. Discharge brought reckoning. We need out, I said, packing his bag. This place is toxic. He nodded, weary. Agreed. But where? Money's tight. Hustle mode. My freelance surged. His barista boss offering remote admin. By April, listings blurred. Cozy craftsman in Inman Park. Accessible condo overlooking the Chattahoochee. Showings became dates, him critiquing crown molding, me noting ramp feasibility. Tyler's guilt peaked. He offered to co-sign a loan. Reparations. We declined, but invited him to pack nights, beers and banter rebuilding bridges. Closing day, May's dogwoods in full blush, keys jangling like freedom bells. Willow Creek faded in the rearview, Benjamin's hand on my thigh, radio crooning Springsteen. Born to Run felt prophetic. Inman Park welcomed. Victorian charm, wide porches, queer neighbors waving pride flags year-round. Unpacking unearthed memories. Shards of the old Walker framed as art. Tyler's housewarming six-pack with a note. To new chapters. Grateful. Summer settled sweet. Power chair became extension. Not enemy. Zipping Atlanta's beltline trails. Wind in his hair. My pace matched. Art show debut. Fractured and whole. Our collab his inks. My layouts drawing crowds. Reviews hailing raw humanity. Love crested in August heat. Proposal under harvest moon. Not ring but vow kneeling on the porch. Words scripted from his sketchbook. Benjamin Hayes. You're my horizon. Marry me in the mess. Tears. Yes. Embrace fierce. Planning ensued. Small ceremony in Piedmont. Fall foliage witness. But September's equinox equaled unrest. Benjamin's scan, progression. Subtle nerve loss. Docs recommending clinical trial in Boston 6 months. Experimental. Heart seized. We go, I said instant. Adventure, he hesitated. Your life here, gigs. Roots. Our life. Resolve steeled us. Packing redux. Sublet the Victorian. Goodbyes tear-streaked. Tyler drove us to Hartsfield. Bear hug lingering. Call. Always. Boston's brick and harbor hit different. Crisp air. History's weight. Trial apartment. Narrow but accessible. Views of Charles River glittering like promise. Injections weekly. Side effects a bitch, fatigue. Nausea, but data promising. Stability holding. Fall foliage framed our wedding. October 15th. Leaves aflame. Justice of the peace in a harborside park. Vows exchanged. In sickness. In flares. In every dawn. Rings simple gold. Engraved unchained. Tyler flew up. Best man tearful. My sister officiated. Kids scattering petals. Honeymoon. Staycation in Cambridge. Bookstore crawls. His chair rolling cobblestones. Nights. Bodies entwined. Love's language unspoken but profound. Kisses like anchors. Touches mapping futures. November's trial data. Positive. Stay the course, docs urged. We did. Roots tentative but twining. Thanksgiving Zoom with Atlantican. Plates heaped. Laughter bridging miles. Benjamin sketched the table, virtual faces aglow. December's solstice whispered homecoming. Trial phase 1 cleared. Return to Georgia. Hybrid monitoring. Inman Park waited. Porch swing creaking welcome. Willow Creek. Distant echo. Mrs. Ellis's updates. Healing here too. Karen. Rumored reconciliation work. Therapy mandated. New Year's Eve. Balcony toast. Skyline fireworks bursting. To survivals, Benjamin said. Head on my shoulder. To thrivings, I corrected. Kissing him deep. Love, we'd etched. Wasn't plotless bliss but plotted resilience. Twists. Turns. Triumphs hard won. Yet life's script, ever unpredictable, penned one final act. January's frost etched Atlanta's windows like lace, but our Inman Park hearth burned steady, casting golden flickers on walls now hung with fractured and whole originals, reminders of battles scarred into beauty. Benjamin's trial meds held the line, flares tamed to whispers, his power chair a sleek companion for gallery openings and beltline jaunts. We'd settled into married rhythm. Mornings synced over espresso. Him annotating freelance briefs with doodles. Me pitching adaptive design apps to tech startups. Love was the mortar. Quiet devotions in shared glances. Louder in porch swings where we'd sway to buskers' guitars drifting from Freedom Park. Tyler's orbit stabilized. Weekend hikes, him carrying gear. Us plotting trails. His therapy tales a mirror to our own growth. You too? Blueprint for redemption. He'd say, clinking bottles. Forgiveness. Full now. Felt like exhaling after drowning. Spring's bloom carried ambition. Benjamin's graphic novel pitch, Chained Hearts. Our story fictionalized. Landed a small press deal. Advance buying breathing room. Book tour whispers excited. Atlanta launch. Then Charlotte. Savannah. I tagged as +1 manager, handling logistics so he could shine. But April showers birthed storms unseen. A letter arrived, certified. Official seal from Fulton County. Karen Whitaker. Probation complete. Suing for defamation. Malicious falsehoods in media portrayals. Her lawyer claimed. Citing our post-trial interviews. Me on local news calling her actions hate-fueled bigotry. Benjamin's podcast quote. Tampering was an error. It was erasure. We laughed at first, absurdity's edge, but summons chilled. She's unhinged. I fumed, pacing the kitchen. Payback for losing. Benjamin wheeled to the counter, face pensive. Or desperate. Lost her throne. Maybe her marriage too. But countersuing? We fight. Attorneys convened. Our pro bono firebrand returned, dissecting claims. Frivolous. Protected speech, truth's absolute defense. Depositions loomed. Dredging ghosts. Her shears in evidence lockers. Tyler's recanted lies. Stress simmered. Benjamin's next scan, minor slippage, but trial efficacy waning. Tweak the dose, Doc said, but side effects ramped, insomnia, tremors in his drawing hand. Nights, he'd pace or roll, the living room, sketches frantic. What if this derails the book? I draw him back to bed, arms fortress. It won't. We're the plot twist. May's dogwoods shed petals like confetti as depots loomed. Karen's first, composed in pearls, voice honeyed venom. I acted for the community. Mr. Hayes. Lifestyle provoked. Objection overruled. Tape rolled. Benjamin's turn gutted us, reliving the shatter, voice cracking on freedom stolen. I held his hand under the table, unseen anchor. Tyler's depot sealed her fate. I fed her paranoia. Homophobia's her drug. Jury or judge. Bench trial saw through. Dismissal came June solstice. Baseless harassment. Sanctions on her counsel. Restraining order barring contact. Karen vanished again. Florida retirement. Whispers said. Relief flooded, but toll lingered. Benjamin's tremors worsened. Trial paused. Search for alternatives frantic. Boston follow-up. Promising lead, gene therapy pilot, but aggressive. 6 months inpatient. Heart plummeted. We do it, he said. Resolve masking fear. Endgame for mobility. I nodded. Throat knotted. All in. Packing for summer exile. Sublet redux. Atlanta au revoir. Tyler helped load the U-Haul. Hug fierce. Beat this. For all of us. Boston redux. Harbor views same, but stakes higher. Inpatient wing sterile. Monitors beeping lullabies. Therapy. Brutal stem cell infusions burning veins. PT sessions sweat-soaked agony. I'd will him to the Charles's Edge post session. Breeze salving. Tell me a story, he'd request. Head on my lap. And I did. Fictions of our future book signings in wheel-free wonder. Inman porch grandkids, adopted. Rowdy. Gray-haired us sketching sunsets. Laughter bridged pain. July's heat wave mirrored internal fires. Fever spiked. Delirium dreams where he'd murmur, "Don't leave, Jacob." Not like the ex. Never, I'd vow. Cooling cloths on brow. Love's vigil. Reading aloud from his manuscript. Voices dueling villains. August breakthrough. Scans showed nerve regeneration. Tentative tendrils. Miracles whisper. Docs cautioned. But hope bloomed. Discharge September. Ambulatory aids down to Kane. Steps wobbly but winning. Return flight. His hand squeezing mine over peanuts. Eyes bright. We slayed. Inman autumn welcomed. Leaves carpeting stoops. Harvest moon harvest of progress. Book launch loomed. Chained hearts galleys hot off press. Cover our wedding silhouette. Launch night. Highland Avenue bookstore packed. Rainbow balloons bobbing. Benjamin at podium. Kane elegant prop. Voice steady. This is for every heart chained by hate, by bodies, by fear. And the loves that unchain. Applause thundered. Signings stretched hours. Fans sharing scars. Tyler front row. Teary. My sister beaming. After party. Our porch. String lights. Indie folk strumming. October's chill carried closure. Willow Creek invite. Mrs. Ellis's reconciliation mixer. Tentative bridge. We went. Hands linked. Neighbors approached, apologies halting. Hugs warmer. Karen absent. But her shadow? Faded. November's gratitude. Manuscript tweaks collaborative. His hand steadier. Trial follow-up. Sustained gains. A patient now. Thanksgiving feast. Extended kin. Tyler's new beau included. Table groaning with turkey and tails. Toasts to survivals. Thrivings. December's hush. Holiday lights twinkling. Our tree adorned with milestone ornaments. Walker shards. Verdict clippings. Scan reports framed positive. New Year's Eve. Balcony again. Fireworks painting sky. Year of unchaining, Benjamin reflected. Kane aside. Standing unaided. Year of us, I said. Pulling him close, bodies flush. Hearts synced. Love. Profound now. Layered like city streets. Underbelly grit. Surface shine. Endless depth. But dawn's light. Ever turning, hinted at horizons yet uncharted. January's new leaf turned deliberate. Atlanta's jazz pulse syncing with our recomposed cadence. Benjamin's cane became occasional ally. Strides lengthening on sun-dappled sidewalks. His graphic novels buzz birthing sequels in brainstorming sessions over oat milk lattes. We'd carved sanctuary in Inman Park's eclectic embrace. Queer-owned bakery runs. Community garden plots yielding heirloom tomatoes we jarred into salsa. Love's flavors preserved. Tyler's crew expanded our circle. Game nights with his beau. A barista poet named Alex. Laughter echoing off Victorian eaves. Yet February's frost nipped at edges. Book tour expansion. National now. Publishers eyeing coasts. Benjamin thrilled. New York, LA. But logistics loomed. Accessibility audits for venues. Flair contingencies. I managed shadows. Itineraries mapped. Hotels vetted. You're my roadie rock, he'd tease. Kissing my knuckles pre-flight. Tour kicked March. Charlotte first. Signing frenzy under Queen City lights. Fans queued. Teens with canes sharing MS stories. Elders nodding at HOA horrors. Q&A vulnerability. Love unchained me, he'd say. I's finding mine in the crowd. Nights. Hotel sheets rumpled. Bodies celebrating solitude in stolen touches. Fingers interlacing. Breaths mingling. Reaffirmations whispered. Savannah's moss-draped squares charmed April. Spanish moss veiling private picnics. But Nashville's honky-tonk thrum triggered a minor flare. Vertigo in a green room. Kane summoned. I knelt. Steadying. Breathe with me. Encore acoustic set. Raw. Resonant. Crowd hushed. May's homecoming. Tour rap party at our place. Publishers mingling with locals. Accolades flowed. Breakout hit. Contracts for Volume 2. High on highs, we danced kitchen slow, radio crooning Colby Calais. June's solstice sun baked ambitions. Benjamin guest lecturing at SCAD on adaptive art. Me landing a TEDx slot on designs for the unseen. Prep bonded us, mock Q&As over wine, critiques laced with kisses. But July's heat wave unearthed old fault lines. A fan email, anonymous, vitriolic. Faking it for fame? Your tragedy smells staged. Echo of Karen's playbook. Benjamin paled reading it. Trolls. But it stings. I deleted, pulled him porchward. Our truth's bulletproof. Let embark. Therapy unpacked. Sessions probing imposter syndromes. His fear of being inspiration porn. Mine of savior complex relapse. We're equals, counselor affirmed. Partners in plot. August's dog days dulled to harvest. Garden bounty. Canning sessions sticky sweet. Tyler's wedding invite arrived. Fall nuptials to Alex. Us as co-best men. Full circle, he grinned over burgers. September's equinox balance scales. Boston check-in. Gene therapy holding. Plateau positive. Celebratory harbor cruise. Sails billowing. His arm around me. Wind tousling hair. To horizons. Toasting with craft IPAs. October's foliage framed Tyler's wedding. Mountain venue in Blue Ridge. Leaves aflame. Vows exchanged under arch. Through doubts and dawns. Are echoes in their words. Reception toasts. Benjamin's. Heartfelt. Love's not linear. It's the loops. The leaps. Dance floor. Us leading a conga. Kane's clicking rhythm. November's chill ushered gratitude's glow. Chained Hearts sequel outline approved. My app prototype greenlit by investors. Holiday prep. Menu mashup. Tree trimmed with tour stubs. But December's hush harbored a hush. Benjamin's confession. Fireside. Manuscript in lap. Ending twist. Protagonist leaves? No. Stays. But what if? We expand? Adopt? Heart swelled. Yes. Yesterday. Talks turned tangible. Agency meetings post-holidays. Profiles polished. 2 dads. Artists. Atlanta rooted. Waitlist loomed. But hope's ember kindled. New Year's Eve. Balcony ritual. Fireworks bursting like stars birthing. To legacies, he said. Kane propped. Standing tall, unaided. Unbroken. To family, I added. Ring glinting as hands clasped. Dawn broke on resolutions renewed. Foster training enrolled. Book edits collaborative. Designs adaptive for futures unseen. Years folded forward. Waitlist cracked spring 28. A toddler boy. Foster to adopt. Wide-eyed wonder named Eli. Homecoming chaos. Finger paints on walls. Bedtime stories triple-authored. Benjamin's sketches captured his curls. My layouts planned playrooms. Tyler's family grew 2, surrogate journey yielding twins. Willow Creek reunions, Mrs. Ellis's barbecues. Karen a distant footnote. Reformed in Florida obscurity. Flares came. Went. MS a companion. Not captor. Kane retired to Hall Tree. Eli's tricycle claiming garage. Book series thrived. Trilogy complete. Screen adaptation whispers from Hollywood. Anniversary stacked. 5th in Piedmont. Picnic vows renewed under oaks. 10th. Paris. Wheelchair-friendly sane cruises. His hand in mine eternal. Eli's teens brought tempests, coming out at 15. Schoolyard slurs echoing old battles. We armored him. Love's your shield. We're proof. Grandkids dotted 30s. Eli's partner. Their little ones tumbling porches. Benjamin. Silver-threaded. Sketching great-grand tales. Me. Designs archived in museums. 60s autumn. Inman's still home. Ramp's legacy for all. Flair's fiercer, but will unbowed power chair zipping parks. Stories shared at queer elder centers. 70th wedding vow. Hospice hush. His hazel dimming but defiant. Best plot, he whispered, fingers laced. Best partner. Last kiss. Soft as first. Legacy lingered. Eli's memoirs. Unchained Echoes. Bestseller. Tyler's toasts at our funerals. Joint. Per will. They taught us. Love tampers nothing. It builds. Willow Creek statue. Walker mended gold. Plaque. For Benjamin and Jacob. Freedom walkers. In starlit Atlanta nights. Ghosts stroll hand in hand. Eternal. Unchained. Human to the core.